Okay, welcome everybody.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Terry Kay, Director of Educational Services at Berriman House, and I'm very happy to have you on this webinar. We are a small group, and I'm using a different webinar platform. Actually, it's a meeting platform. Usually we use GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting. This time I'm using Zoom. So let's for now leave our video cameras on and our speakers on, our microphones on, and then we'll see how it goes. I'd like very much to make this interactive. A couple of people have offered to share some techniques with us, so please do feel free to jump in and to let me know your questions. Let me start by asking you, how many of you know for sure you are using Hebrew in Harmony this school year? You can just say it.
I am.
I am.
Got it. Okay, good. So most of you are, and presumably that's why you're here, to learn some techniques and the practicalities of implementing Hebrew in Harmony. Here is our agenda for today. I'll talk a bit about the goals very briefly. Then I'll show you the 3 components of each prayer module. Next, we'll move on to a variety of techniques, ways to engage your students. Then I want us all to try out the digital, and I know there are lots of questions about that, so I'm here to answer every question. I'll stay as long as you need, and then we'll have an open forum where you can ask your questions and tell us some of your thoughts about what excites you about the program and what you're nervous about. Again, jump in at any time. The goals of Hebrew in Harmony are as follows. They're all about engaging the student. So it's engage with prayer intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. And then experience prayer through multiple modalities. Find meaning in praying as a community, and of course, learning prayer Hebrew skills. Any questions about that? Any surprises? Okay, so now let's get into the meat of what we're going to be talking about, the 3 components of each prayer module. When we say prayer module, we basically mean prayer. So the Baruch Hu is a prayer module, as is Shema, Micha Mocha, Gvurot, whatever it is. There are 22 prayer modules. 15 are currently available. The remaining 7 will be out in January 2018. The remaining 7 are the Torah service of concluding prayers. And we'll get to that in a minute. The first of the 3 components is the 16-page student journal. This is what the kids use in class. They can work alone in small groups, chevruta, but this is how they actually express themselves on paper. They do writing, drawing, journaling, discussion, and there are all sorts of prompts in the journal. The second component is the digital companion. This children will use primarily in class. It does depend on the technology that you have available, and we'll get to that when we tackle the digital companion. But we expect that most people will start using the digital piece in class, perhaps on iPads, and for sure you will want to listen to the music together, and I'll show you how to access that. And you'll want to watch the videos together and so on. And then after that, once the children are comfortable with it, you can certainly send it home. They can access it anywhere, anytime, on iPads and in web browsers on all devices. And the third essential piece, and all 3 are essential, is the curriculum core. Tell me, do you have available to you now a curriculum core?
I do. Yes.
I think so.
Okay. It looks like this.
Yes.
Oh, yes,
It's
I
a big
do.
blue binder, and it's got the tabs with the different prayers within. Now, if you don't have your own binder, at the very least, you want to have access to the prayers that you'll be teaching, the modules you'll be teaching. So when I say that the three pieces go hand in hand, what do I mean? The curriculum core was actually written first. Eliana Light is the author. You may know her as a musician. She's also an educator and the author of the curriculum core. And that drives the entire curriculum. Each prayer module in the curriculum core, for example, Baruch Hu, is divided into 3 lessons. We expect each lesson will take about 50 to 60 minutes. However, you can spread them out over more sessions, or you can do it more quickly. That is entirely up to you. But we do expect that a prayer module will take probably 3 and maybe up to 5 lessons. We have scripted 3 full lessons. The curriculum core tells you how to use the student journal and how to use the digital companion. So what you want to be sure to do is to, before each class session, you want to review you want to plan what you're going to be doing by using the curriculum core. You'll then know what music you need to play in class, what song lyrics to print out for the children, what materials you need. For example, do you need index cards? Do you need large post-its? Do you need art materials and so on? And you'll also know which activities in the student journal you're going to be doing with the children. And I'll give you examples as we go. Any questions so far?
No.
So that's, as I said, for each prayer module, the curriculum core gives 3 lessons of 50 to 60 minutes each, and they are scripted. They literally tell you, I'm assuming you're the teacher, they literally tell you what to say, what pages in the journal to use, whether to work in small groups, alone, whatever it is. And it tells you the amount of time to anticipate the activity will take. If you're a veteran teacher, you may not need all this. Just know it. If you're a new teacher, novice in some way, or new to Hebrew and Harmony, you might value having the full scripting for the lesson. Now, if you have journals with you, in front of you at your desk as you're sitting here today, you may want to pull them out, because I want to show you, you can pull out any one. I want to show you that each journal, so there are again 22 journals, currently 15 are available, 7 more in January. Each journal is divided into 3 lessons, same as the curriculum core lesson plans. Each lesson ends with a Hebrew helpers page. That's your clue that that's the end of the lesson. There are 3 Hebrew helpers pages. At the back of the journal is a summary, an assessment, a review page called My Musical Journal. And it asks the kids questions about what they learned, both the vocabulary, the concepts, the background, questions about the music, their own views, and so on. Wow, I'm wondering what this is up here. Can anybody, I've got annotate on. Does anybody have experience? Clear all drawing. There we go. All right, so let's jump now. So we've looked at what the goals are. We've looked at the 3 essential components of each prayer module, what you need to have access to. And now let's go. By the way, I'm not touching anything, so I don't know where this is coming from. And so it goes, clear. Let's go into ways to engage your students, some actual practical ideas for bringing the kids in and engaging them. The first thing to know is that each lesson, remember I said there are 3 lessons per module. Each lesson begins with a start activity. This was an idea Eliana Light came up with to draw the kids in, and it's printed in the journal. So here's an example from Micha Mocha. You would write on the board or the whiteboard or the smart board or whatever you use to communicate, or a post-it. You would write something like, turn to page 3 in your journal and complete the It's a Miracle activity, which happens to look like that. If you have the Mechamocha journal in front of you now, you might want to take a look. It's on page 3. So again, in every journal, there are 3 such start activities. And the purpose of the start activity is when the kids come in, if they're early, they immediately gives them something to do. If they're not early, it brings them, no matter what, it brings them into the lesson. It's a kind of a kickoff for the lesson. It's a way to get them thinking about a concept, a theme, something important about this prayer. It's a hook. And it's also a way to relate to their own lives. So this is an example of a start activity. Let me give you 2 more from 2 other journals. In the Chadodi, I just chose these at random. You've got a start activity that looks like this. And it says, so happy to see you. Think of a time when you just couldn't wait to see someone you hadn't seen in a long time, maybe a good friend who had moved away, etc., etc. What did you do or say, draw or write about it here? And then there's some follow-up questions that you can take a look at on the screen. How do you know when you're eager to do something? For example, do you smile when you think about it, etc.? So what do you think? Why might that be the start activity for Lachadodi?
I have to see it.
Say that again, please.
I said you kind of have to look at it to see it.
Okay, well, so then think about the theme of Lachadodi. What's the purpose of Lachadodi? What are we welcoming?
Yeah, the Sabbath.
Okay, so if we, one of the themes is, of course, welcoming Shabbat the Queen. So this was just a way to bring the kids in so they can start thinking about what it feels like when they are excited to see something, when they welcome something. Another example of a start activity is in the Gvurot journal. And here it is up at the top. And it's it's a little activity about saying L'chaim and why is L'chaim an appropriate expression for happy times and celebrations. And this is a lead-in to the word Mechaye, Hakol Mechaye Meitim. So you can see the start activity will link to some content within the student journal. So that's the first type of activity. That's the start activity. Now let's look at a different modality, which is getting kids out of their seats. In every lesson in Hebrew in Harmony, in the curriculum core, there is some or other activity that gets kids moving. It might be moving to the music, tapping out a song. It could be coming up to the board or a poster to do something. Could be going into different corners of the rooms. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. This is from Mechamocha. And by the way, the kids still have not looked at the prayer in Mechamocha, okay? So they did the start activity, which got them thinking about the concepts. They're now about to do the following, and then only after that will they go into the prayer. So here you might say to them, okay, I've got 2 giant post-its up on the board. Could be a post-it, could be a piece of poster board, could be, divide the chalkboard in half, whatever you have. I want you to think about an amazing experience you had that just took your breath away and what you said when you had that experience. And then they'd come up to the left poster and write up whatever they said. Whoa, unbelievable. Are you kidding me? This is amazing, whatever it is. And then you'll read that aloud. And then you might ask him to come up and say what they might have expressed if they had just crossed the sea of reeds. And then you'd review that. And then you'd segue into a bit of just frontal presentation, perhaps, of what Mechamocha is. And then you would take the children into actually reading Mechamocha. So I bring this to you as an example of one way that the curriculum core gets kids out of their seats. And everything I said is in the Michamocha, this is what it looks like, the curriculum core. I have it highlighted for my own purposes, but everything I said so far is here in the Michamocha module. So you don't have to make it up. It's all there for you. I'm going to give you one more example of a movement activity, but I want to stop now and see if you would like to add anything, or there's a movement activity you noticed that you'd like to bring to the group. Okay, the other one I will share with you now is from Ma'ariv. It's from Ma'ariv Aravim Yotzer Or. And in this case, what you're going to ask, you're going to be you teaching Yotzer Or, and you're going to divide up. You're going to choose key phrases from the prayer. Baruch Atah, Adonai Eloheinu, Melech HaOlam. Yotzer Or Uborei Choshech. Sorry about this. And you're going to assign the phrases to different children and ask them to teach each other the Hebrew phrase by acting out a movement, by using a movement. For example, how would you demonstrate to the others Baruch Atah? How would you demonstrate Uborei Choshech or Oseh Shalom? And the children will teach each other using hand motions, and then you'll ask them to string it all together until the whole prayer, those phrases of the prayer flows smoothly.
Right, you got the voice and I got that.
So that's another example of a movement activity. Jump in at any time. Okay, now, of course, Hebrew in Harmony, we know, is driven by the music. So I want to talk to you for a minute or two about how to access the music and how to use it. This is one of the key reasons that you need digital in the classroom. So let me show you now. I'm going to jump out of this PowerPoint and take you to the Berman House website. And you can go to the Hebrew in Harmony page, which looks like this, bermanhouse.com/HIH. It's a yellow page. You'll identify it that way. And if you look down on the bottom right, you can see Try the Digital, which we're going to do together in a few minutes. And you can see all the music. All the music in Hebrew in Harmony is available there. It's also available within the digital application, but I want you to know that it's easily accessible here on the Berman House homepage. I'm going to go back just so you can see it. I went to Berman House. You can type in /HIH. And you get to this yellow page down at the bottom, all the music. And here's where we have available to you all the songs. So if we wanted like Michamocha, which is this module that we're sharing today, you can hear it all here. So the song we're going to play for our children is Joshua Nelson's gospel version of Michamocha. Okay, so you play the music for the children, and that you just want to be sure that you have really loud speakers in the room. You can stream it live. You can stream it or on your device, or you can download it ahead of time. You see, download it. So if you don't have Wi-Fi access in your room, you can download it on your computer and play it for the kids directly from your laptop. The music is an essential part of the program. Here's an example. Here's an example. This is an activity in the journal, the Michamocha journal. So the kids listen to the music, and then they answer these questions.
I turned your phone.
And this is one reason that you want to very purposefully plan how you're going to use the journals. Because remember, the kids can't do this activity without having heard the music. There happens to be a video of this as well. But I want to just be sure that that's clear to you, that the use of the journals is really built around the classroom activities. So again, if you want to go back here and you can see all the other songs, all the music is available to you here.
Okay.
But like, you can't do this until you listen to the music.
Right.
Right. So Leslie, we can hear you talking. I just want to be sure you know that.
Sorry.
Let's go back to our PowerPoint, and that's just one example of how to use the music. And another, I want to say, unusual feature of Hebrew in Harmony is that in every module there are 2 to 3 instances of mindfulness practices. The curriculum core guides you in how to use them. And there's a full section at the beginning of the curriculum core in the introduction, written by Rabbi Jill Zimmerman, with mindfulness techniques that you can use. It's optional if you want to do it or not. It is built into the journals, and we think it's a wonderful opportunity to experiment and to bring the kids along, even those who may be a little uncomfortable with it. So what I thought I would do now is try it out with you. And this is, again, directly from Micha Mocha. And if you are willing, I'm going to ask you to sit comfortably in your chair and to close your eyes and to experience what the children will experience. So sit comfortably in your chair with your feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes. Imagine that you have just crossed the sea of reeds. There was water to your right and your left. You felt the rumbling of Pharaoh's army behind you. You tasted sweat. Your eyes were blurry from running. You made it to the shore. Look behind you. What do you see? Now look around you. What do you see? Now in front of you. What do you see? Open your eyes, please. And using the art materials, the art supplies you have in front of you, draw one of these scenes, what you see behind you, around you, or in front of you. And when you're done, write Micha Mocha in Hebrew anywhere on the page. And that's your segue into an art project. And that's all from the curriculum core and the journal. Give me your reactions, your thoughts.
I think for some students it would work really, really well.
And for others?
I think you're going to have a few that would be difficult for, but I think with the right teacher, they can make it work.
Yeah, I think it does need teacher buy-in, and it needs a little, drama from the teacher too. I think that's true. We have some anecdotal evidence that some of the boys get a little uncomfortable with the mindfulness, and so we just invite you to have them watch, participate if they choose, and perhaps when they're ready, they will join in. So those was just a very few ideas from the drawn from the curriculum core, ways to engage the kids and bring them into the material. Somebody have?
Sorry, it's Joan. Can I just interrupt for a second? Because this activity leads directly into an art project. Are there suggestions for other kinds of projects that students who don't feel comfortable doing drawing type art would do instead?
We always give the option to write rather than to draw. So throughout the curriculum core, throughout the journals, we'll say things like, draw or write about it here. Because some kids feel they can't draw, which is, not true. Everybody can draw a stick figure, but that's okay. And so we always give that option.
You can also have them act out their feelings when they do that as an alternative for the drawings.
Yes, that would be great. Good idea, Dale. I'm going to ask you now to try to jump to the digital companion, and then I want to spend a few minutes on that. So to try the digital companion, this is what I'd like you to do. Can you please just be careful not to close out the Zoom window? Can you open another window, a new tab at the top, and go to...
Excuse me, there's a lot of feedback that's happening. I think if people mute themselves unless they're talking, that will lose some of that feedback.
Thank you. Thank you, Joan. Good idea. Thank you so much. So if you can just mute yourselves until you want to talk, that'll be super helpful. So if you can go to this Hebrew and Harmony page, I have an easy way for you to try out the digital, then we'll talk a few minutes about how to use it. So you go onto berrimanhouse.com/HIH. Bottom right, try the digital.
Terry, I have it on my phone. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just enter it, click on the arrow and choose whether you've got three free modules that are open just for trying, for fun. Obviously, all currently 15 modules are available as part of the digital license. When you buy a Hebrew and Harmony digital license, it costs $9.95 for the year for a user. And you have all 22, currently 15, will be 22 prayers open to you. So let's choose Michamocha, or choose any one you want. And you probably play, actually, I'm going to let you play rather than doing anything on my screen, since you're on your own screen right now. One thing I suggest is that you go to the Learn little island in the middle of the page. Go there first and perhaps watch the video.
How do you get to your screen?
And if you could just mute yourselves, I'd appreciate it. And you mute yourself up at the top of your monitor on the far left. I'll give you another quick sentence or two about what you're seeing. The Learn island in the middle is where kids watch videos and learn the words of the song as taught by Noah Aronson to a traditional melody. Quizit on the far left top is a review and assessment of content. Practice on the top right is where they can hear an American or an Israeli voice reading the prayer, and they can record themselves and submit it to their teacher. Explore on the bottom left is where the children can personalize prayer pages. And bottom right, the melody game is where they combine syllables to match a melody, and in that way form the phrases in a prayer.
How do they personalize their prayer page?
They can go in and add little emojis. I do want to say that this Explore page we are in the process of redesigning, so I wouldn't spend too much time on that. And if you look back at my screen now, the window with the Zoom webinar, you can see an explanation of what those little islands are. And I do want to turn now and spend the next 2 or 3 minutes on how to actually use the digital. So feel free to continue playing in your own time after our meeting is over today. because I have a feeling this is you're going to have questions here, and I want to hear them, please. So you can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. What I will say to you is that we strongly suggest that you use the digital in class to begin. You can download option 1. You can see you can download it to your iOS device. You'll also be able to get it as an Android device shortly. An Android app. So there's a native app that you can download to your iPad. Some schools have 4, 5 or more iPads available, and it's a fantastic way for the kids to break off into small groups, to go when they're finished early, to go and practice singing the prayer, to watch a video, to play a game at stations. Once they're comfortable, you can then get licenses for them all to use at home or in their own time. So Hebrew in Harmony Digital is available as a native app that you download onto your mobile device, or you can access it from the online learning center. That's this option 2 in the online learning center. Option 3 is you can log in at berrimanhouse.com and go to my account at the top and my software on the left, and then you'll see your play button. Now, what are your questions about using the digital? And please do unmute yourself if you have a question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So my school didn't purchase the digital companion, but I did see in some of the material, I'm not sure if it was online or in the curriculum core that I was looking through, that there was a trial available now of digital material. Is this true?
Yes.
I thought I saw it somewhere.
That is the those 3 open modules that I showed you on the Hebrew.
Oh, that's what it refers to, those 3?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Of course. Other questions?
Terry, I'm on the app right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it says my prayer book, and then it says all. So I clicked on all prayers, and then I got Baruch Hu, and there are 8 Baruch Hu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you see this?
No, okay, hold it right in front of the camera, please.
Can you see that? Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu?
No. You know what? There might be, are you in the native app or in a web browser?
I am on the app for my iPhone.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to make a note to talk to our developer about it, because I believe that they are in the process of updating the app.
Okay.
You're saying you're seeing the word.
Yeah, can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Yes, but go down. Hold it again, please. Can't see it.
Oh.
Oh, it's got Baruch Hu multiple times.
Multiple times. I don't know what that is.
It's not right, and I'm going to talk to our digital developer.
Okay, and it's the same thing for brachot, havdalah.
Okay, we will check it out as soon as.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry about that issue.
It's okay.
We'll check into that.
Okay.
So while you're thinking of other questions about how to use the digital, there is one sort of basic that I want to share with you. Each time you introduce a new prayer module, I strongly encourage you to hook up your laptop to a projector, have nice strong speakers, be sure your Wi-Fi is okay, and project for the kids, bring them all together to at the very least watch the videos. We know for sure you need to listen to the music and bring them together as well to watch the videos, and they can gain so much. The videos feature Noah Aronson, who you know, the musician, and he's also the host of the series, and Eliana Light, and we also have the Bible players, Andrew Davies and Aaron Friedman. So they make up the talent that is in the videos, and it's super fun. The kids love watching them. So at the very least, that's what you want to do, is to have a laptop and a projector with good speakers and Wi-Fi available for kids to work or to watch together, and have the music for sure. Any other questions about the digital? Joan, anything that you'd like to share about the digital or anything else?
I just wanted to say that I too just went on, did it on my phone. Long lists of each one.
Right. Same here.
If you click on one of them, you get to the program.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously it's not right.
You're right.
But I'm saying that it is usable.
Right. No, that's it's not right, and I would say it's probably. I'm going to be on the phone without digital. Sorry, Joan.
I just wanted to point out that it was usable.
Okay. Thanks. And by the way, this is Joan Carr talking, who's a curriculum specialist at Berriman House.
Hey, everybody.
And I asked her to be on the call so she could share any other wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say I was thinking about different things that were in the curriculum core, but I don't want to do that if you're talking about the digital now.
Well, let's see. Any other questions about the digital? And then we can jump to just an open discussion of anything else that you would like to ask or to share.
Okay, I have a question. So I was playing around with this while you were talking, and I was listening to a recording, and I wanted to stop it. And to stop it, because I was using my iPad, I virtually had to shut the program down and do the double click and swipe that window up. Is there a way to stop the music if you want to stop in the middle of something?
Oh, to stop the music that I showed you. This, you mean? The music here.
Yeah, so if you hit Lachad Dodi, I was doing it from the app.
Okay.
I wasn't doing it from the program. I was virtually in. Oh, which one was that?
Okay, we will investigate. It's obviously in the web app. There's just the stop button here.
Yeah.
Right, but you're saying you didn't see that in the app.
iPad. Okay, so I have one other question too about the digital and the music, actually.
Sure.
If the congregation has a specific tune we use for something, is there a way to add it into the program for the students to hear it if you're using it outside of the classroom?
Right. So that's a good question. We, as you know, provide one of the traditional melodies, a traditional melody that Noah Aronson teaches, and we also give multiple other versions of the prayer. Often it's not only the prayer itself. It could be, for example, if you're teaching the Baruch Hu, it might be Noah's Am I Awake? So it's artists' interpretations of the prayer. In addition, we've quite regularly got that question that you just asked, Adele, and so what we're doing now is we're building into the app the ability, a feature, where the cantor, the song leader, the music director, whoever, can upload the synagogue's own personal melody directly into the app. And that'll be available in January when we roll out the final version of the app.
In
Phase 3
January.
when the series is complete.
Okay, that's what I needed to hear. Upload in January.
Right.
I'm just writing it down.
Sure. Other questions?
But you can always put it on your website or to have your own recording if you're doing it in class.
We've got it on a website. It's an additional tool, and if I'm directing them to go to the Hebrew and Harmony, it's just easier to access completely that way, and it makes the program just stronger for us as a congregation.
100%.
Right. Good. Other questions? I see many people are still muted, so feel free to unmute yourself. And Joan, if you want to jump in, anything else about the curriculum core, I'd love that.
Oh, I was looking through the introductory pieces of the curriculum core, which provide a lot of information about how to individualize for students, as well as things about movement and so forth, and mindfulness. And there were a couple of ideas that I was thinking about. You see, you can tell that I particularly don't view myself as being very artistic. So I always am empathetic with the students who might have that same concern that I have. So there's a whole section called Engaging with Prayer Through the Arts. Actually, it starts on page 16 of the curriculum core. But particular things that were interesting to me that I thought that almost any student could do would be, one of them was photography on page 19, was for students to take their phones if they have them, or if you have little cameras, to help the kids walk around the synagogue or go outside and take pictures of things that they thought would be representative of a feeling or a way that a certain prayer speaks to them, and eventually to use these as tools to put together an individualized student siddur. Think about that, the whole process of being able to do that, and you could do it through, if the students wanted to do drawings, then they could do, for each prayer, they could do a drawing. They could do, and I love the idea of them doing some micrography, was the other thing that I really liked. And they would do a very simple description of just take the title of the prayer and use that and use those letters. I know that that's maybe a little bit of an issue for some schools which are not necessarily teaching writing right now, but I think that they still would be able to teach enough of the letters of the particular prayer to be able to use the micrography.
Right. I'm glad you raised this idea of the creative arts, because it actually helps illustrate how the 3 lessons that are provided in the curriculum core could extend to way more, because you could spend a whole lesson just on an art project. So that's where the teacher discretion does come into it. Right. Thank you, Joan. Larissa, are you on the call? You had wanted to share something? Okay, I don't know if Larissa's here. Adele, you had also said there was something that you had an idea or a technique that you'd like to share. Would you like to go ahead?
Adele, you're muted.
Adele, you want to unmute?
Yeah, I had to unmute. I had looked at the front section, and I actually love the KDBB. The no, I figured you could do by listening in class, but I think you take do, belong, and believe even further by having the kids attend a service and actually lead the congregation. I wouldn't call it performing, I'd say lead the congregation, and explain some of the meanings they've gotten out of this. It's a way to get, for us, it's a way to get our families to the service and to have them get that sense of belonging.
Right.
Leslie, can you explain that she said KDBB?
Yeah. Do you want to explain what it is? It's part of the assessment section. Adele, do you want to explain what the KDB is?
Just so you know, it's on page 36. We went over it the other day. It's know, do, believe, and belong, which I think is a key component for me as a teacher right now. So I think it was in the second section of the core curriculum that came out.
Yeah, it's just, right. It's in phase 2. It's a part of the assessment in the introduction. And I was at in New York City. I went to watch sessions at Temple Emmanuel, Saul Kaiserman's place, and one of the things they had was a 6th grade service that I stayed to watch. It was like the last half hour of the day, maybe 5:30 to 6, and they'd invited the parents in of the kids who were leading the service, and exactly what Adele described. These were the parents were all excited, and they came en masse really to watch their kids present their own thoughts about the service. So it's a wonderful way to demonstrate learning.
And if you do it in the congregational Shabbat service, it takes it even further.
Sure.
Which is where we would do that.
Yes, exactly. What a Friday night families do, Shabbat dinner and so on. Is there anything else that you all would like to talk about? I'm pretty much accomplished what I'd set out to accomplish today, but I am here and I'm going to stay for the next few minutes to respond to your questions. Just unmute yourself if you want to ask. I do want to encourage you to join the Hebrew in Harmony Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and do a search on Hebrew in Harmony, 3 words, and you'll come to the page. And it's a good way to share information. We do, and you can too. You can learn from one another, and we can all collaborate there.
Terry, I don't know if you can see the chat, but there's a comment from Joanne about how important it is about the app being able to work well because her students are primarily going to be using it on their phones. So I know that you have a note and that you're going to take care of that. And I just wanted to reassure Joanne that we're on it.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for noticing that, Joan.
I have one question, if you can hear me.
Sure.
I'm wondering if when teachers use this, if their students, let's say in 4th grade, are already very confident at decoding.
Yes. I would say that a prerequisite for using Hebrew in Harmony is the ability to fluently decode, to read, with some fluency,
Sure.
and to know the letters and vowels. Otherwise, it's going to be a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's a ton of other stuff in Hebrew and Harmony, for motivation and the music and the movement and the art and so on. But ultimately, it's the educator's goal is for the children to hone their Hebrew skills, their prayer skills. So they do need to be able to read Hebrew, to decode Hebrew.
And it's important for them to take as much advantage as they can of the opportunities to practice their reading while they're doing all the other things too. I don't think there's any substitute for practicing reading. You can do it with singing. They can do it with the music, but they have to be, how do I want to say it? They have to be connecting to the words in the prayers.
Right. So and we provide opportunity for that. So obviously in the journal itself, we give the prayer, the prayer. Sometimes if it's an incredibly long prayer, for example, the Birchot HaTorah for the conservative movement, the blessings after, very long. We don't include them all in the journal, but we do include them in full in the curriculum core that you can photocopy those for the children. And so use the Hebrew helper pages, and of course use the digital where the children practice along, they're reading along with Noah Aronson, or they're listening separately to an American voice talking or an Israeli voice reading the prayers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one thing as a veteran teacher that's really unclear to a newer teacher is that they have to practice the reading with the prayers, because I was been going through it trying to figure out how I was going to plan lessons for different days and thinking that my counterpart doesn't have the experiences like going, when do I actually get them to read the prayer? And I'm like, you have to build that in. So you might need to clarify that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, we do say it in the journal, we give techniques in the journal now, divide the kids into twos or whatever it is, have them read. But I think it is something to emphasize. So I appreciate that. And actually it raises the point that this is not a just go type curriculum. It needs teachers to prepare. You want to know what's in the lesson plans. You want to have your technology set up. You want to have the materials on hand and have the lyrics printed out, whatever it is. So you do want to prepare in advance of each session.
And the other thing I wanted to point out is that the printed modules complement the digital, and the digital complements the printed, and they work together, because if each one in itself is not complete. You want the total experience. And so that whole section about practicing on the digital, that's a piece where that's where they read. There's a very big section about that. So.
Right. Correct. Well, I'm going to stay on for another few minutes, and you can see my contact information at the bottom. It's Terry, Terry, @berrimanhouse.com. And but I will officially close the webinar and say thank you very much for joining us today. And we wish you all the very best in this exciting adventure. And we'd love to stay in touch and hear how it goes. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Terry.
Bye.